Welcome! In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a training tracker workbook in Microsoft Excel step by step. I'll be focusing less on how to navigate Excel and more on what information I'd like you to put into each spreadsheet. Hi, I'm Jennifer from Jester Safety Resources. If you're struggling to keep track of all of your employee training and don't have a software program to do it for you, I hear you. This 4-part series will walk you through a proven and effective way to track your workplace trainings so that when asked to provide this information by your employer or an auditor on the spot, you always have everything that you need right there at your fingertips. For this tutorial, we've divided it into 4 bite-sized videos. In part 1, you'll learn how to compile and document your employee identifiers. In part 2, we'll enter all of the trainings that you offer to your employees. In part 3, you'll learn how to distinguish the trainings required by each specific employee and then how to utilize color codings within the body of your spreadsheet. And then finally, part 4 is a bonus video where I'm going to show you how to lay out a roadmap to break down department-specific training using your job safety analysis or company policies, and then the best way to track what's been reviewed by each employee. For step 1, let's take a look at the template and then identify what employee information we need to start building our new training tracker. I'll be basing this tutorial on my own training tracker that I've created to stay on top of the training that I have to manage. We'll just break down each section one piece at a time. You'll notice, starting on the left side of your screen, that I've added columns for employee identifiers. The first column is for employee names. I prefer to list them by their last names first and sort them into alphabetical order going down the row. The second column is designated for the employee ID number, if that's applicable to you. These numbers are often needed when filling out forklift certification cards or scheduling employees for annual audiograms, etc. If you don't have a need for this type of information, simply leave this column out. The third column is designated as location, but it actually serves to show which facility the employee is physically working at. In my experience, often a safety manager or EHS coordinator will be responsible for several facilities, especially if they're sister companies, and then each of those companies must be tracked separately as their own entities. But that doesn't mean you have to put them on a separate spreadsheet. The fourth column will identify the department the employee works in and their job title. Again, different positions require different training. For example, someone who's in an admin position wouldn't need the same specialized training as someone from the maintenance department. And we'll break down how to identify what's required and what isn't later. But in this column, I also like to indicate if an employee is a seasonal or a temporary employee. Oftentimes, employers will bring in employees on a temporary basis through an agency, and those employees will physically work at your facility but are actually employees of the agency. It's also important to differentiate who each employee is employed by, as the training requirements as well as the way workers' compensation claims are handled will vary. We already know we have to stay on top of a lot of information, but stay with me here. The preferred training language column speaks for itself. Not all facilities have only English-speaking employees, so it's crucial to identify which language an employee speaks in order to provide training in that language. All employees have the right to receive training in a language they can understand. I normally use this information for scheduling classes for either all English-speaking or all Spanish-speaking, etc. And last but certainly not least, identify the shift the employee has been assigned to. Again, this is the best way to know when the employee will be available if and when training needs to be scheduled. The less confusion when putting a class together, the better. We'll stop part 1 right there. This first tutorial may have seemed brief, but don't be fooled. You still have homework to do. Your task this week is to gather all of the employee identifiers that we talked about and then enter them into your training tracker. Next week, I'll feature part 2, where I'll give you much more insight as to the types of trainings that can and probably should be included on your ever-growing tracker. A tracker template is available for download at the Paper Jester Safety Resources website at www.paperjester.com. As always, it's my hope that you find value in these tips and tutorials. If so, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Now get busy, and I'll see you here again next week. Thanks for watching, and take care, my friends.